Hello and welcome to The Dental Chair. I am your host, Marguerite Morgan. I am the founder and director of Irish Dental Jobs. With almost 25 years recruitment experience in the legal and dental arena, I tend to do things very differently, and I wanted to showcase how we establish and maintain relationships to form connections in order to match the right people to dental practices nationwide. Over the next few episodes, we will touch on a few key insights from our recently launched salary guide. To discuss these topics with me, to my right, is my right-hand woman, Margaret Kierans. Margaret has been working with me for the last 6 years. She is the marketing manager at Irish Dental Jobs, and she is the master behind the research for our dental insights and trends. So, Margaret, what key insight have you got for me this time?
Today I'll be talking about the difficulties faced by dental professionals in finding accommodation in Ireland. It's something, that has affected many, but particularly those coming from abroad seeking employment in the dental sector. The minute, if it's not already hard enough coming to another country to work, the minute they get here, they're faced with the housing crisis. And as I said, I know it's something that has affected many, but, it can stop them from taking up a role or even settling in a role if they can't find adequate accommodation.
Yeah, it's definitely, that is definitely a challenge. And definitely in the last 3 or 4 years, it's certainly a stumbling block. Just to give you a quick example, the last 3 or 4 dentists that we've been working with coming into the country, unless the practice owners got involved, with trying to assist in finding accommodation or provided accommodation, none of these dentists would be here. And it was a lengthy process as well. You're talking minimum six months to 8 months, and each dentist was almost on the verge of, look, there's no point, we leave it. So yeah, that's an extra challenge we need. Like, the dental profession has a few challenges at the moment, and that's just an extra one added onto it.
But I've been working here 6 years, and I have done all the campaigns. I've done all the job descriptions.
You go, girl.
Thank you. You are amazing. I know. But it's this year especially the advertisements are now starting to become more and more around accommodation,
yeah.
And it's front and foremost of all my taglines and all the advertisements. And it's not, even if it's just finding accommodation, like some practice owners have their own accommodation, or they may have contacts, or some of them may subsidise for rent and everything else. So it does make a huge difference to the job vacancies.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, not everybody can do that.
Option.
But on the plus side, with regards providing the accommodation, because we have witnessed, like in recent roles that we've been working on, that practices, there's a accommodation available. The good thing about that is, say for example, the role is available in South Dublin. If you're dealing with somebody from Cork, if you're dealing with somebody from Galway or Mayo, they're actually applying to the roles, because a lot of people, might want to live in Dublin, or it's not that they don't mind where they're working, as long as they can find suitable accommodation.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, because when we have a client who is actually offering accommodation, and it's kind of a new trend that we're in, like we can target basically nationwide.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage. But unfortunately, I'd imagine that's quite far and few between. There are not many employers who are going to be able to provide accommodation for overseas dentists or overseas qualified hygienists coming into the country, unless the practice owners get involved in some shape or form. I think we're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, no, it is a huge challenge for everybody in the country at the moment, but yeah, especially those coming to Ireland. And as you said, not many practices have the opportunity to assist. But it's an interesting insight from our salary guide.
It is.
And
all down to you.
Thank you.
The master behind the research. And to find more about your fabulous key insights and trends,
if you haven't already ordered my masterpiece, you can do so at irishdentaljobs.ie/salary guide.
And now, on this week's episode, we're going to discuss working and living in Ireland as an overseas dentist. Joining me on the dental chair to discuss this topic are two ladies I've had the pleasure of working with over the last few years. Both are qualified overseas dentists, so allow me to introduce Dr. Jayashree Kumar, a qualified dentist from India, and Dr. Tamara Gonzalez, a qualified dentist from Argentina. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks very much for joining me today.
Pleasure.
Jayashree, when we first met, you were already working as a dentist in Ireland. When you were was that your first job in Ireland, or did you work as a dental nurse first? You might actually take me back to when it all started and, your reason for coming to Ireland, and tell me your story.
Yeah, sure. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that I'd be here halfway across the world with my family and putting my roots down here in Ireland and happily living here. I'm grateful for the long journey. So it all started when my husband got a project here in Ireland, and he was meant to travel here for a year. And I was back home in India working in a busy practice with my infant and toddler. And after a year, one project then led to another. And then he decided to stay for longer, and I needed a break. So I decided to take a career break and move here to Ireland for a few months to stay together as a family.
And we only meant to come for a few months
as well? Yes, for a few months. And then it just kind of got prolonged, delayed. And then I decided I couldn't stay at home again. So I wanted to apply for the exams here in Ireland with the Dental Council. So they had the application window open, and I went in and I popped in my application, and I really had no clue that there are hundreds of people vying for...
This is at the Irish Dental Council?
Yes.
So you were here for a few months and you registered?
So I just applied for the exams.
The application process.
Yeah, because it is a long process. And little did I know that there are people from all across the world, but hundreds of people vying for, just to be selected as suitable candidates to appear for the exams. And these exams are quite intense. There are two parts, part 1 and part 2, with theory and practical exams.
I believe the English is probably the hardest. Like a lot of people have to do the exam again because of the English. Did you?
To be honest, I didn't have much trouble with that. But also, yes, there is an oral component. There is a viva voce during the practical exam. So communication and speaking in English would be very important as well. And the first time when I applied for the exams, I wasn't selected to appear for the exams because there was only a limited number of candidates who could appear. And the second time, I was queuing outside their office very, very early in the morning. And then finally my application got in.
And you said there was a queue.
Yeah.
I can't believe in order to... And was that just to register for the exams?
Just to apply for the exams.
Of people in order, because only a certain few people are selected every year. Is it to do the exams with the Irish Dental Council?
That's right. Only the first, I think, 10 completed applications would be considered. Right. And then
And what time are you queuing from?
4 a.m.
4 a.m.?
Yeah.
And how many people were in the queue?
I would say more than at least 40 or 50 people, as far as I knew. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So first come, first served.
And also there are some criteria to, be suitable to appear for the exams. They have some criteria online, so you'll have to go, match up with that.
Okay, so then you started the process again for a second time?
For the second time, yes, I did.
And were you working while you were waiting for that, or were you still at home with the children? Or because I'd imagine, did you try and find a job as a dental nurse, or?
Yes. So I didn't want to lose touch with my profession. I wanted to at least be in the environment. So I started looking out for jobs, and with my own dentist, I went to my own dentist, and I came to know that she had a space for a dental nurse. And I said, do you mind if I just join part-time? And then she's very happy to take me in. Yeah. And I'd say it was a fantastic experience to be there with her, just to get a feel of how things work here in Ireland. Dentistry is pretty much the same, but the approach and the people, the expectations, they're all a little bit different, I suppose, from place to place.
And how did you find, you know, you worked in a busy practice in India as a dentist, to go from that to working as a dental nurse? You know, was that a hard transition, or were you just, you know, looking for the opportunity to learn more about the culture and, you know, what it was like to work in dental in a different country?
Yeah, so there was a bit of both actually. Like these are two different jobs. Being a dentist and being a dental nurse are totally different jobs, and it's not easy being qualified for one and working for another. Sometimes I just wanted to get in and get my hands in, but anyway, that was not my place. But also, it was a great exposure to kind of absorb how the interactions happen here in a dental environment, and just to catch up on the little nuances of communication and some updates in dentistry as such with the materials and things like that. It was a very good experience for me.
Yeah, but that's a great attitude to have, because the biggest challenge we would have for overseas dentists is that our clients who say are looking for a nurse on a permanent basis, and a lot of dentists who come into the country, they are going to qualify for their exams and they're only available for a certain amount of period. So, you know, they would prefer not to invest the time or the training to have to go through it all again. But the other challenge or the risk from like that we would come up against is, you kind of have two different personalities. So I know from my experience with both of you had the best attitudes, in order to gain that experience. Then the risk is there is the other personality who is a qualified dentist, a qualified specialist from overseas looking for a job looking for a position in Ireland, and dental nursing is the only role that they can go into. However, there are times when that personality feel that they might be too experienced for the role or too qualified, and it can upset the apple cart. And that's where it will be a challenge for us as well, because it's kind of 50-50. But that's where I come into play, is to try and come up with the people who really relish the opportunity to learn about the culture. And like you said to me as well, like working as a dentist in India and working in Ireland is like a completely different job. It doesn't even seem like...
Well, the dentistry part of it is quite similar, but the patient expectations and just dealing with the lab work, getting in touch with the different personnel. It's like starting from a new place. Yeah.
And how long did it take for your registration to come through?
So after I completed my exams, it was at least 3 months before my registration came through.
3 months, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And did you find it easy to find like the right associate role, or like after you got your registration?
So to be honest with you, when I completed the exams, I thought to myself, oh, that's it, I'm on the other side of the bridge. But it was a whole new ball game to find the right place and a place which suits me, and vice versa. So initially I was in a practice, and it was a good place to start with. And that's when I got in touch with you. And here I am in a different place, and I'm super happy where I am today, thanks to you.
And you have the best of both worlds. Your half your time is spent in private practice and half your time is spent in the HSE. So ticking all the boxes there. Yeah. And Tamara, you went down a different route. Yeah. And I would imagine, this was even harder from your background, because not only are you a qualified dentist, but you actually ran your own practice for a number of years. Yeah. So when you came to Ireland, did you choose not to go down the route of doing the exams, or, was there a reason behind it?
When I came here, first of all, I didn't speak any English. So that was the difficult part for me, because I consider to requalify, but then I have to study English from zero. So I started these English courses, and it takes a lot of time.
And then the thing is with, like we just mentioned, with the Irish
The
Dental
IELTS.
Council examinations, it's the English, because I've worked with so many dentists who've had to do it, like their exams twice because of the English. That's the biggest
I did it
stumbling
8
block.
times. The IELTS. Till I finally got the 7-point
And the
score.
thing is, you know, coming from Argentina and then no English, and then trying to find a job in dental, was that a hard thing to do? Like
it was not straightforward. Just when I arrived, I just focused on getting these exams done, studying English.
Yeah.
And I was so focused on the IELTS. And once I got the score and I was ready to register, my registration process for the exam, it was quite different than yours. It was more straightforward. No queues, no nothing. I just apply. I have all my papers. Then I was on the list and I was able to take the exam within that year when I got the score. And that was the only thing that I needed, just the IELTS. And then I wasn't prepared. When I was sitting the exam, really, I wasn't prepared. It was a new, different thing, studying all over again, but in English. So it was just different. It was very tough for me, and I didn't have much information about the exam and how it's going to be like. So I was kind of going there, but not quite prepared. So that was my kind of mistake, because I should have prepared more. And you have an instance when you miss the exam, you can retake it again just one more time.
Just one more time.
And I was just too I wanted to do it straightforward just after, without preparing myself again. And I lost the opportunity, because actually I should have kept that chance.
Yeah.
And then is when I say, okay, now.
Yeah.
I better just try to... I want to work in the dental field, because I really like it. I have a passion for dentistry. So I say, that is my time to go for dental nursing. Yeah.
And then you got your first role. Who was that with?
It was with a dentist in Bagot Dental.
Oh,
yeah.
Dr. Susan Croak.
Croak.
Oh, you worked for Susan Croak for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and 4 or 5 years. It was just a long time.
And, you know, I've actually mentioned Susan Croak in one of our podcasts previously, because anyone who has trained with Susan, you know, whether they're breaking into dental on the support side of things with no qualification, or, you know, if you've worked there for a number of years, you know, are always very, very well trained, and clinically, the skill set is very high. So I was very happy when I saw your CV.
I was very lucky
come in.
to have the chance to work with her, I have to say, because I learned a lot of things that I needed at the time.
Yeah.
Just for my English. And sometimes it could be different people, of course. You need some more time for learning, especially for the English, and just to get to to get that different, how can I say, it's different in Argentina, dentistry, than here as well. So, for example, it's not that common that every single dentist will have a dental nurse. So I learned this teamwork and the role that each person had. And it's very important, dental nursing as well. So it was interesting, and the dental hygienist as well. We don't have dental hygienist.
And you're working now as a practice manager.
Yeah.
And do you find working as a practice manager, you know, that, you know, it's closer to, you know, your background?
Yeah, so, absolutely. In my new role, more like a treatment coordinator as well.
Okay.
I can see all different needs of different dentists and the patients, and I can. It's a job that I like, really, because I can be in all the places that I want to be, and I learn even more for everybody. For every dentist and specialist. And
just changing the subject slightly, I'm a keen cyclist, And so are, like, I know I haven't stopped talking about this since I met you.
Yeah.
But, and so are a lot of our clients, keen cyclists as well. So did you leave Susan Croke completely to do the following? You left
Yeah,
to
I took a
cycle
break.
for 10
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
around Thailand and from south to north
Yeah,
Japan.
I took a kind of year break after
Did you?
working these 5 years with Susan, and
And did Susan take you back after the year?
no, because it was a long time, you know,
Oh no,
and
because I was
she,
going
of
to say,
course,
wow,
yeah,
she's some employer.
yeah, exactly.
Giving you
So
10 months
of course she
holidays.
had already working
Yeah. But,
someone.
oh my, just tell me a bit more about that cycle or...
Yeah, I just took a year break. I wanted just to have a break, like I needed that time for me, for thinking as well a bit about what I want to do, if I really want to keep going this path, or just
And it,
wanted
like,
to have the adventure and the experience, you know, of cycling, because I knew other people doing it, and it was just something that I really...
and is there much preparation to
No
that?
no preparation. People ask me this all the time, but anyone can do this. Like, I know cycling every day is a lot of effort, and you have to be a bit fit, of course.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's going to be very hard for anybody. But anybody can do it.
And how many kilometres would you cycle
I
approximately on a
think
daily
so.
basis?
It was roughly 60 kilometers per day. It's not
Wow.
much.
I was very passionate about that.
But we have loads of breaks. Like, if I find
And
a
would you,
place.
would you, like, were you staying in hostels? Were you
I was
a
a bit of everything.
bit of
Like in
everything,
Southeast Asia, I was doing a lot of staying in a lot of guest houses or
Yeah.
accommodations, but that was while camping as well.
Okay.
That is, yeah. And in Japan, because I also cycled Japan, the whole length of Japan from
That's
Fukuoka to
amazing.
Hokkaido.
Wow.
I did more
isn't it?
camping, I have to say.
Yeah.
It was easier.
And you're
to
just
do.
back from another trip.
Yeah. In the summer, I just took a almost 2 weeks trip to France. So I just took the ferry from south of Ireland to north of France.
Yeah, I'd love to do something
Just
like
close
that.
to the Mont Saint
I really
Michel,
would.
and just cycle
Yeah.
all the way down to Biarritz. Yeah.
Yeah, like what I might do is we did a charity cycle when we were 10 years in business for Deborah Ireland, but you know, I think I might do a charity cycle soon, and I'll be getting you getting involved.
Yeah,
Actually, can I just go back to when both of you arrived here? Did you have a valid passport or did you require a work permit? Like, did you need to get sponsored initially?
No,
No, you had a European passport.
yeah.
And you, Jayashree?
So in my case, because my husband had a working visa, like he was
Right.
sponsored by his own company.
Yeah.
And after a year or two, his visa status moved to the next level, which means that I could work as well. So it was only at that point that I could work, you know, as a spouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because what I'm finding, you know, maybe 10 years ago, the majority of overseas dentists coming to Ireland would require a work permit. And, you know, that, like, even today, it's kind of still a difficult thing to do. But in the last 2 or 3 years, especially qualified dentists from India all have valid work permits, which is great.
Yeah.
So, ladies, let's talk about how we met. Tamara,
Yes.
how did we first meet, actually?
Well, I was during my cycling trip, at the end of my cycle trip, and I knew I was going to come back to Ireland, and I needed to look for a job. So then is when I contacted you.
When you're
the
on
link.
your trip?
Yeah.
Whereabouts were you at the time?
I was in Japan. I was
I don't remember that now.
in the middle of my trip in Japan.
Okay.
And then,
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So I decided I will just organize myself. And then it's when I contacted you. And so we kept in touch till I arrived to Ireland. And I remember I arrived, I don't know, on a Monday. And on Friday I was working already. So that was amazing for me because
yeah.
I just take away my stress of having to look for something. And we started with these temporary jobs.
Yeah,
that
that's right.
It really helped me because
Yeah.
I've been in many
you
places.
were available immediately.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the role that I had available was permanent. So anytime we have a permanent role and someone is available immediately, I would always, go back to our client and suggest or advise, would they work with the person for a few days, a few weeks before, any formal commitment is made, just to give both parties a chance. The idea is that we're putting the right person forward for the few weeks. No, we're not throwing people in willy-nilly. Yeah, so I think...
So I had a few experiences working in a few places, and then till you got me the right position, and actually the location was amazing for me. And
you were temping.
Yeah,
you cycled in the...
I cycled many places.
An hour and a half or something the first day temping, and it lashed.
Yeah.
Last you went into work, I remember, absolutely soaking wet, because I can't remember who you're with, but my client was like, oh my God, she came in.
And it was, rainy that day. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And so, now you're in that role as a practice manager for the last year, and we've stayed in touch.
Yeah.
And then I remember, when I met you, like I was so interested in your background and everything like that. Like I said to you at that stage, I hope to be launching a podcast. And when I do, I definitely want you to be a guest.
Yeah, I remember that. You say so well.
It's been a year in the making.
A year that you say that,
Yeah.
And here we are.
And then we stay in touch on a regular basis.
Yes,
so that's
you
great.
always stay in touch, which I always appreciate, because you make sure that I was feeling comfortable in my job. And
well, I feel it's important. Like, as I say, in recruitment, generally, if you put someone into a permanent position, you follow up for the first 12 weeks and your job is done. But, I say to everyone who ever comes across me, personally or professionally, once you make contact with me, unfortunately, you can't get rid of me. So
that's true.
And no matter how long you're in a job, I still like to touch base just to make sure that everything is going okay and that you're happy. And, I should be long gone. But, as well, I think it's important for our clients that 6 or 9 months down the road, there might be something small that you don't want to approach them about. And if I have an idea, something might have shifted, and you're happy for me to go back and say to our client, I prefer to do things that way, because it's all about, longevity and enjoying the workplace. So, and Jayashree, I remember meeting you, because we met in Greystones, and we had lovely pancakes and syrup and strawberries and everything else. So,
So I feel very grateful to have met you, Margaret, because it was really good. The first thing is I was in a job and I was looking out for other options. I knew it was a great place, but I was looking for something more. And I'm so glad that I got in touch with you, because after we met, I knew that you're going to look after me, because the way you put me at ease, even during the conversation, like finding out what are my preferences and what are the opportunities available. And like you said, you try to match up personalities. And I think that's super important, to be a right fit in the place where we work. And you did that for me, and I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, thanks.
It's not easy to find to find a job in the first place, and then to be the right fit in the place is a totally different thing. And you looked after that. And like even now, when I have any stress in my work life, at work, like all of us do, we think that, okay, I'm going to give up this job and take another one. We all have those moments, don't we? And then I think, oh yeah, there's Margaret. She's going to look after me. No worries at all. So
yeah. But the way I do things is, like, and I'll say it all the time, like, people like are important to me, and if I can help in any way that I can, and it's I just want to always make people know that the door is always open, no matter what, no matter how small the problem is. Just always know you can call me, and if I can help, I will. But it works kind of both ways as well, because it's all about like, I'm here to advise in the best way that I can, and it's up to everybody how they take that advice on board. So like, thanks, and I'll say to everybody, all the support that everybody gives me and how loyal they are to me. It's not something, that I take for granted, so, and all of you make a big difference, to help me on my journey and get me to where I am. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Because you always kind of stay in touch and check in with us to see if you're doing okay. And like even with my taxes, I had a lot of queries and you helped me out with that.
I don't know a lot about that, but, and like, that's the thing. If I can't help you or I don't have the answers, I'll do everything to point you in the right direction, but I'm always here. Now, my children might not like that because, as my mother says, do you not have a cut-off time? Which I don't, so my poor children, I believe, get the worst.
But they have a great role model to look up to.
Thank you.
A lovely person. When you say people matter, you absolutely have that as the first thing in your mind. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And on that note, thank you, ladies, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you so
Jayashree
much.
Kumar, all the way from India, and Dr. Tamara Gonzalez, all the way from Argentina.
Thank you so much, Marguerite.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Dental Chair. If anything resonated with you, if you have any queries on your job search, your recruitment needs, you can contact me directly at marguerite@irishdentaljobs.ie, or you can call 01 849 40 70. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and share. This is Marguerite Morgan from Irish Dental Jobs reminding you that people matter. Until the next time, slán agus beannacht.